Aquaman, everyone's favourite Justice League member. Maybe not, but some people may like him, and I think some more people may like him after this movie. So we're talking about Justice League, The Throne of Atlantis, the latest animated DC offering. So this is really kind of the origin story, really, of Aquaman. It's actually based on an existing comic book. Now, it tells a tale of Arthur Curry, who will become Aquaman at the end of the film. And he is this kind of barfly, really, who doesn't really know his place in the world. His father's recently died at the beginning of the film. And he doesn't really know about his past. He's basically got this kind of human father, an Atlantian mother, but he doesn't really know that. And you can tell there's something different about him, but he can't place on what it is exactly. He's got unusual strength, things like that. And basically, the Atlanteans are this kind of underwater people who have kept themselves hidden from the surface world, and there's a bit of an internal power struggle going on with their kind of royal family. The Queen wants kind of peace and really wants to sort of keep themselves to themselves, but the sort of jealous prince, who is Arthur Curry's kind of half brother, essentially wants to take over the surface world and hatches a plan to do so. And basically, it's Arthur Curry just sort of discovering his kind of heritage and his place within the kind of the Atlantis sort of population and kind of hierarchy, things like that, and also meeting the Justice League, and obviously what are their motivations after this kind of attack from the Atlanteans on kind of the human sort of population. So that's the basic plot without kind of going into sort of too many details for you and too many sort of spoilers. But it's quite a fun movie. Let me just go through a couple of the negative points first of all, but then I'll tell you what I like. So the couple of negative points is, I think the voice acting is a little bit iffy, certainly on some of the supporting characters. Not so much the kind of the main characters, the people in the actual Justice League, but there are some supporting characters, some peripheral characters. Well, I do think the voice acting seemed very kind of forced. It was almost like watching kind of a badly dubbed anime sometimes in regards to some of the voice acting. Second point really is, I think the story had Arthur kind of adapting to his sort of surroundings a little too quickly. He seems to not be all that surprised when things are kind of revealed to him, and he seems to be able to sort of fight pretty well and be this sort of master sort of combat tactician and kind of warrior without seemingly any training, to be honest. And I'm not overly familiar with sort of DC comics. I'm more of a Marvel guy myself, but based on what we see in this film, he's no kind of soldier or warrior or anything. He's able to sort of put up a better fight than Superman and Wonder Woman in some instances, and he's had no kind of combat experience before, so that was kind of a little bit weird, to be honest. So I don't know what it's like in the comics, but that to me just seemed a little bit strange. And like I said, he just adapted to it very, very quickly, to be honest, and again, a little bit jarring. And they've only got so much time, I suppose, but to me that was maybe a little bit of a negative point for me. And they're not really a negative point, but one thing I will point out, if Batman's your favourite character, you may well be disappointed in this particular film, because I have to have all of the Justice League members, he actually gets some of the least amount of screen time. So if you're a Batman fan, you may be a little bit disappointed. But on to the positives, this was actually a kind of a fun movie. I think Arthur Curry, Aquaman, makes a kind of a good sort of hero, a kind of one you can sort of get behind, you sort of buy into his character. And you kind of like him. I mean, the Aquaman, until maybe quite recently, he's been a bit of a joke in regards to the sort of the comic world. I know that's kind of changed recently, and he's become a lot more cooler now. But for a long time, Aquaman was considered Jackaman. He was considered a bit of a joke, and I have to say though, I really did like him in this this animated movie, and he was a good. I like the design of him. And I thought his personality kind of shone through, and he was a good character. Some of the action as well I thought was quite good, in lots of kind of actions, and it's at a good pace, peppered throughout the movie. And the thing I liked about most, I thought the dialogue was quite good. Now it is aimed at an older audience. There's a little bit of swearing in here. There is a little bit of violence, and there are some kind of fairly semi-gruesome deaths. So which I guess you could say is maybe a negative. If you wanted to have this shown to a kind of younger audience, it may be a little bit too violent for younger audience. And I know there has been some criticisms in the previous DC animated sort of films where they have been maybe a little bit too adult orientated, but it's going to depend on your audience, I suppose. I mean, I am an adult, obviously, so I kind of like it. But if you want to show it for kids, it's going to be a little bit it was a bit adult. But the dialogue was great. It's got some very funny lines in it, and you know, I thought the sort of the interplay between the kind of some of the other Justice League members was really good. I mean, you've got the kind of the relationship blossoming between, say, Superman and Wonder Woman. Superman seems a little childlike to me, if I'm completely honest. He doesn't act like an adult. I mean, we see Shazam, who's obviously got the mind of a child, and you know, I quite like him. I quite like the kind of the animated Shazam, but Superman doesn't seem worlds off him, if that makes sense. He seems very kind of like just his eyes aren't fully opened almost. So you know, but you know, the actual sort of the dialogue between, say, Flash and Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, I loved it. I thought it was very, very good, and even the sort of the between Batman as well. Some really great dialogue here. There's an absolutely funny Deep Blue Sea moment. I'll say, if you know the movie, if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I mean. That was kind of cool, and came out of nowhere. It's good fun. So I actually enjoyed this movie. It has a couple of minor problems, but overall I thought it was pretty good, and you know, I enjoyed it. It's a good sort of origin story for Aquaman, and it makes me kind of want to see more of him, I have to say. And there is actually a post-credit scene as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I enjoyed it. I mean, if you've kind of seen the other sort of Justice League War, it's kind of on the same lines. I know that had its detractors, but I still quite enjoyed that. So I'm going to give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.